All right, teammates, we are back once again. If this is your first time listening to the Move Swiftly podcast, welcome to the show. Welcome to the number one show on innovative teamwork. Looking forward to having you back for more. To my regular listeners, here we go again. You guys have become accustomed to this. When you hit the play button on the Move Swiftly podcast, you know you're going to either, whether it's just me talking or it's going to be somebody else, you're going to get filled with a lot of gems, a lot of lessons, a lot of things that you need to be applying to your life and making it so you're better. We're not just here to talk. We want you actually applying the coaching and the lessons that we're going to give you. Today, we are about to have a master class, and I tell you, a master class in one of my favorite topics, which is sales. We have the founder of 360 Sales, Mr. Benjamin Brown. Welcome to the Move Swiftly podcast. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. And let's just get things started off because, there's so many business owners out there, and that's primarily the folks that listen to the show that start businesses. They are quote unquote entrepreneurs. They get a nice logo, they get a nice website, they do all the trimmings and the things that look like they're in business, yet the sales element to it, there's always some excuse around not getting their hands dirty and making the calls and going out and selling their product. And you are someone that has embraced that challenge. And the reason they don't do it because it's a challenging thing. You are someone
Mhm.
that has embraced that challenge. And I'd love to just hear like this. So I was just listening to you before we started recording. I'd love for you to kind of start with, how you grew up, your background and things like that. I love that story about how your mother was cooking some things and then you learned sales, you had it was embedded in you. So, with that, I'll kind of just give you the microphone for a second and we'll go from there.
Well, first of all, we want to give some golden nuggets to your guests as far as
Yes,
sales,
sir.
some tips that I'll be covering that they can use today that will get them into the mode of learning how to actually sell. So we'll get that done.
But
My background is I grew up on a small farm. Funny, I just got up last night. I went to bed like 9 o'clock. I finally slept like 12 hours. My father, who's 95 years old, passed away. We was at the funeral this weekend.
oh man, sorry.
The
Condolences,
last
man.
last of the vestige of eight, and we just celebrated his life this weekend. So it has been, when I say go back home, I grew up on a small farm, 200 acres on the tractor,
Mhm.
nothing technology wise in during the time. And then transcended from that work ethic into the Marine Corps for 6 years. Transcended from the Marine Corps into gym uh, personal training, which eventually got me into sales as far as gym memberships.
What
And gym
what gym
memberships
was it?
was my entrance way.
What gym was it?
Goals gym.
Yeah, I'm my background's in fitness as well, so know all about that.
Yeah. So got recruited and started that. And main thing is working with somebody who I trusted and somebody knew what they were doing, trained me at the beginning of sales and said that I can become a star, which is always a sale, just like recruitment, and taught me the ways of selling in the beginning. And I took that into many different positions,
Right.
many different companies, and about 11 years, 12, 11, 12, 13, I don't know my anniversary, started after many, many years of doing all aspect of sales, started coaching and found out that I had not ability not only to do it, but I can teach it, which was different.
hmm
Mhm.
So when you're talking about the lessons that you got, and I can resonate with so much of what you just said. I remember there was actually a time when I had lost everything, like car repossessed, phone gone. I tried starting up this minor league team, lost absolutely everything. And I got a job in order just the process of me getting back on my feet. I got a job at a LA Fitness in sales. And the manager asked me, he goes, "Hey, how would you start a conversation or how would you basically get people in the gym?" And I started talking to him about all my sports connections and getting, this quarterback or this running back or knowing the combines, all that stuff. And he stopped me and he says, "You're talking about athletes. I'm talking about people. I'm talking about just regular people that are just shopping at the grocery store. They just build into a new community." And that moment, Ben, that actually changed my life because I realized how small I was thinking. Can you kind of speak on some of the mentorship that you got, whether it was in fitness or whether it was in the Marine or whether it was some of the other situations that you were going on where you were thinking smaller, but you started to expand and realize, look, if I learn to sell, I can actually do anything. I can actually go out and accomplish anything.
Well, one of the advancements, and I worked in like a boot camp, what we used to call a call center,
Hmm.
or a boiler room, for a number of years. And just that environment alone was nothing to play with. Every day you were being tested. Every day you could be let go. You're dealing with about 125 guys on the phone from 9 to 6. No computers, no laptops, no pagers, just a phone.
Man,
So sales
I'm,
was what it
I'm
was.
picturing it in my mind. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah, you just had fax machines.
Uh-huh.
That's it. So there was no, what I tell people today, you're distracted by all the different tools. These are all tools. Fax machine's a tool, radio, TV, phone, these are all tools.
Yeah.
But how you use those tools, a lot of people wasting a lot of time. Now
Right.
you have so many, it's ridiculous. You have social media, you have email campaigns, you have funnels, you have all of these different things people try, SEO,
Mhm.
all these things that get bombarded by, when actually the main thing is just getting on the phone,
Mhm.
talking to your customers, which most people don't want to do.
Right. So how have you adjusted that though? How have you since from that time where again it's been just every time I talk about this I think of the scene in Wolf of Wall Street. Pick up the phone and start dialing. You're behind on your pick up the phone and start dialing. How have you adjusted with the times? When it comes to some of the people that you may coach or you may work with now, and you're right, getting on the phone is probably the best way to do it. Or even like I do, I'll go directly to a store. I go directly and talk to a manager and say, hey, would you be interested in so and so? When it comes to all of the things that do happen, how do you tailor your coaching or how do you sort of tailor your business to make sure you at least are incorporating some of these things and making sure people are doing what you just stated?
Well, the main thing I emphasize, sales is simple, but it's not easy.
Yes.
I re-emphasize that one more time. Sales is
Put the
simple,
people in the back. Put the people in the back.
but it's not easy.
Right.
It's a skill. So to acquire a skill takes a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
and people don't want to put in the work. So I don't work with people that don't want success and don't want work, because mainly when you work with me, you get a lot of individual time where I'm grading you on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
honing your skills where with role playing, which is the key. Most people, 90%, 95% of the salespeople out there do not know what they sound like.
Hmm.
They
So
don't
can
record
you give like an
themselves.
example, like what do you mean when you say role playing, or how it kind of plays out? If anybody listening in might be interested.
Sales is a language.
Mhm.
So it's just like you learning Spanish, you learn it through your phone, but you don't have nobody you go out and talk to. So how do you know how you sound?
Right,
You don't.
right.
So most salespeople, I'll say 50% of them, maybe even more now, sound like crap, because they don't have any fundamentals.
Mhm.
It's a skill, just like a lineman, just
Yeah.
like an electrician, just like a welder. That's a skill that you practice over and over again. So
Mhm.
the key component I cover is sales. If you're in sales, you're getting better or you're getting worse every day. It's either or. You never stay the same.
Mhm.
So if you come out of sales for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, you go on vacation, you come back, you're going to be rusty.
Right.
So that was taught to me many times over. You're never the best.
Mhm.
I'm a good salesperson. I'm never the best salesperson, because it's a growing type deal. You always can learn something, and it's always changing. But
Right.
there's fundamentals that you need to know, because I teach sales as a language.
Right.
It's a different way you talk to an individual, right? When you go out and you're dating, right? You just can't go up and just start talking to somebody. You have to have different viewpoints. You have to have, respond different ways than you would with your friends or your family. These are all sales skills. When a child asks you to pick them up, pick me 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 up. What is that? That's a close. They're
Mhm.
closing you. They're not selling you. They're closing you. Pick me up. I don't care what's in it for you. I want you to pick me up. So, um, as Juan, the deal of it is, I teach people the purpose of a sale is to get someone to move.
Mhm.
So if you're not getting them to move, you're talking at someone.
Right.
So when you're talking at someone, you're asking them not to do anything. But so you know it when you drive down the street, when the billboard says call now, when the infomercial says call now, when you click on your phone, it says swipe left, it
Mhm.
says put in your email, go to this web address, click on this link, sit in this Calendly. It's all baby steps in
Hmm.
a process. And
Yeah.
most people don't understand the process.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you have brought it up because at some point I plan on getting there. This isn't just a business thing. This is actually a personal family life, making sure selling is a part of every aspect of life. And I think too often there's a lot of people that get stuck in a comfort zone. And when they're so used to a comfort zone, that sales, that getting uncomfortable, just like the example you just shared about a kid, wanting to pick you up, wanting to pick them up, and they're getting the clothes and they actually get you to do it, that is an actual sale. And these developmental processes can be incorporated into things that are not just business related. So can you speak a little bit to that in terms of if there's anybody listening and there may be elements to selling that they look at it as just business, but it's also personal as well.
When you go overseas, you go to the markets, if anybody been overseas,
Right.
which I've done tremendously, you know that when you go to some of the markets, they don't have prices.
Really?
Negotiate.
Yes, I do.
So
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I know exactly what you mean. I went on a cruise,
right,
actually, as a cruise, several cruises.
right.
Soon as they let you on, it's not even price. It's like how much you got. Let's negotiate. Let's work it.
How
Let's
does that
work it
make
out.
how does that make you feel though when you go through that?
Well, me personally, I actually enjoy it because, again, you're
Right.
on, you want to cut a little deal and,
But you see other people, what do you think they feel like? You see them, they're like, what?
this is what's the catch. What's
Uncomfortable.
the catch? What's the catch? I want to know how
All
much.
right. So
Right.
so you live in a Western civilization where you're taught whatever you get, you need to earn it by working. You
Yeah.
don't ask for it.
Yeah.
So your sales, since that you've been born to sell, has diminished because you don't use it. You've been geared to go to college, go to school, go to college, get your job, make
Yeah.
your money. The
Yeah.
only thing you negotiate is a car and a house.
Hmm.
Everything else, there's a price on it. But unbeknownst to you, there's a little secret. Everything's negotiable.
Hmm.
But people don't negotiate. What is negotiating? It's selling, right? So
Hmm.
if you go overseas, you'll see that everybody negotiates
Yeah.
in second and third world environments.
Right.
We don't have to because we get degrees and we have jobs and we have salaries. So the advantage in the United States, if you learn to sell, you'll pay less than anything else because
Mhm.
you learn to negotiate. You can go into Sears right now or anywhere and you see the price. You can always negotiate. People just don't know it. They just pay it.
Mhm.
Everything's negotiable, right?
Right.
But people just don't think about it that way. So the ones who make a lot of money is the ones who cover the gap between what I spent and what I sell it for,
Mhm.
right? Tons of people in the are middlemen right now, right?
Right.
So that's the deal of it is, what you can buy it for. So I'm in the limousine business. I have a limousine company in Tampa I've had for 14 years.
Mhm.
And so sometime when I get somebody who wants a vehicle I doesn't have, I have to negotiate the price that I can pay for that vehicle based upon what I bill for it. And
Right.
that gap is normally the percentage that I earn. So doing that on a regular basis, you can make a lot of money. So there's 10 steps in every sale, but not every company needs those 10 steps
Right.
from the book Master the Art of Closing the Sale, right? But say the gym business, need, use, affordability, spouse, guest pass. So I
Okay.
always remember those. Those are the rules, right?
Right.
So I tell people when I build them customized sales process, those are the rules you go by.
Mhm.
So people know that they'll break I say laws because people break the rules, but they don't break the laws. So the laws is the steps that your company. So you should be able to replace yourself, bring somebody in on that process and be successful
Yes.
on a regular basis. But most people are just what's called they're just winging it.
Right. They're depending speaking of the LA Fitness manager, he would call it depending on the door. You're depending on the door. You're not actually depending on a system where you gave a guest pass to someone, you called them, they said no, you called them back, you got them in for a tour, they gave them a free workout, you waited those 3 days, and then you sold them. All right. You're just trying to depend on the door. Somebody walks in, you sign them up, you get credit for the sale and all that kind of stuff. And the question I actually have for you, Benjamin, is how do you go about fighting? Because you mentioned the system, you mentioned the schools, the degrees, the salaries. I mean, we could probably go down a rabbit hole if we were talking about just how opposed to selling and how much we're not taught to sell throughout the school system. How do you go about fighting that clash or fighting that unawareness that we have when it comes to the students that is like fresh out of school? They think they deserve a certain salary. You tell them to sell something, they can't sell shit, versus the person that doesn't have any degree, that doesn't have anything, but they got a lot of real life experience and they're out there just pushing. How are you going about, fighting that the system where we're naturally taught not to sell anything?
Very simple.
Mm-hmm.
The key to sales is 80% of sales is confidence.
Wow.
So most individuals don't have
Mm.
confidence, low self-esteem,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is really bad nowadays.
Yes.
Social skills, really, really bad nowadays.
Horrific.
So
And
anybody that can sell has a more advantage for anything like that. Because when I work with individuals, I normally have to find out why they're not selling.
Mhm.
Once I'm able to find that out, then I can work with them on how to sell. So sometimes it's due to their demeanor, sometimes it's due to their childhood background. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right? I'm not a psychologist, but I can figure out what makes people stop from selling and work with them to build a confidence. Once your confidence is up, because sales is a skill, it's a numbers game. So
Yeah.
it's about rejection, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why most guys complain about same thing. Guys complain about how many girls do you have? Or you're single. Do you date? No, I don't have any. Do you want to date? Yes. What's the problem? Go on the app. No. Do you go down the street and talk to girls? No. Why? Because I get rejected. Why do you get rejected? What do you say? Oh, no wonder why you get rejected. What are you practicing? What are you saying?
Mhm.
Everything based on that concept, right? And
Mhm.
so people get rejected enough times, they give up.
Yeah.
So what makes people give up is what I work on, so you can overcome that and realize it's about the process. It's not about you. Don't take it personal,
Right. Yeah. We
right?
think, I mean, people who deal with rejection, and again, I understand, I'm not talking at you, listen, I'm talking with you because this is something I myself had to work through myself, is rejection is part of the game. It's part of the process. It lets you know that you're
So you should learn to love the reject.
yeah, learn to love it, man. Just welcome because now you know you're actually pursuing something that's worth having. Love that reject. In fact, I mean, I don't know if you guys are watching this on video, but I grew up in Maryland and just looking at his Under Armour shirt, I'm thinking about Kevin Plank. I'm thinking about the Maryland and everything he did. Fun fact, he pitched the concept to Nike. Kevin Plank went to the Nike people, pitched the concept, and the Nike people, Phil Knight said it will never work. The tight, stretchy t-shirt concept will never work. I used to work right there, actually, in Baltimore area where Kevin Plank used to live. And these were like people that just started with the company. And they said, these are the stories you get when there's only 6 people working for the company. He tried, but he never gave up. He kept selling, and he believed so hard, so much in his product. And the thing you just mentioned, I want to make sure we get clarity on this, is confidence. All right. Confidence is not fake. Confidence isn't just what you post on Instagram and how many likes you get. Can you please give us like a clarity on what you mean when you're talking confidence? Because confidence, real confidence, actually takes some work and some things, under your belt versus, the people that may have a bunch of girls liking them because their muscles are cute on Instagram or whatever it is. So I love for you to dive a little deeper into the clarity and give the listeners a good description of what confidence is all about.
Well, confidence is your ability within your self-esteem, and
Mhm.
sometimes it could be crushed. And so being on the phone or actually in a sale, your
Mhm.
job in sales is to lead the potential client down your process. And if you're not confident in doing that, they will leave you in that process.
Mhm.
So main thing about it is when you start working with people or individuals, they can feel. So one of the rules that I work with individuals is that when I work with you, you have to like or love the product.
Mm.
Like it, love it, or leave it.
Right.
You ever sold something you didn't believe in?
It, I mean, I all right. So I'll give you the process because Yes and no. I love the idea of getting people into the gym and working out and all that kind of stuff. But this LA Fitness thing is when I really was going through it. And when I had someone that was on the fence of signing up or whatever it is, and they told me they needed surgery, I wasn't a doctor, but the sales guy who needed the sale for the corporate people, he tells her, "You don't need the surgery." No, you don't need the surgery, as if he diagnosed her, so they sign up. There's another situation where I was working at a gym where it's $10 a month. A lady walks in barely able to walk. Like there's no way she could even do the equipment. And I didn't sign her up. The next day, my higher up signed her up, knowing she'd probably break her leg on just using the equipment. So it didn't feel right. That's what got me into the more thought
So
leadership.
you didn't like or love it because it wasn't
Exactly.
based
So
upon your morals. So when you
exactly,
say yes or no, that was a lie.
yeah. So it's a no,
So
right? You
I
coach. I'm
remember
getting
that.
coaching later. Yeah.
It's not a yes or no. So I what?
Yeah.
I break that question out. That is a no. So
Yes.
from
Thank
what
you.
you're telling me
Yes.
is that you didn't like the gym
Didn't
business.
like it. Didn't like it. Fuck no. Thank you. Thank you for giving me clarity because
So
it
people
gives
will
me.
tell you things like that in a sale. Well, kind of, and I
Yeah.
go,
You don't like it. Right.
no.
Right.
So
And
why
that's
you don't
fine.
like
I
it?
think it's important for people to know that too. That's okay. If it's a no, that is fine.
Well, the difference between a good and a great person is the number of questions that you ask.
Hmm. Okay.
So most people don't ask enough questions. They
Right.
assume. And when you know what happened when people assume.
Hmm.
Right.
So yeah, you were going on the you were I believe you were, before I gave the example, you were talking about the how to develop the confidence in the process of what you're selling. So when you get someone that doesn't know if they like it, love it, or leave it, you know, how do they kind of diagnose if they love it, or how do they
Oh,
diagnose?
I can tell.
Yeah, go ahead. You can tell. Yeah, how can you tell that?
Oh, I just tell people to pitch me.
Right. Say that again. I missed that.
Sales is simple,
Hmm.
but it's not easy. I don't need a litmus test.
Hmm.
I've been doing it long enough to know what it sounds like. Right.
Right. Right. Right.
So if I go up to somebody, oh, I do this and this. Oh, great, great. Pitch me.
Oh,
Well,
you said
right
pinch.
now,
No, you said
right
pinch.
now,
I thought
they
you
go
said
right,
pinch.
right
Pitch is
now.
like hit you the idea. I got you. Got
Yeah, right
you.
now. Shark Tank. What do you got?
Uh,
Right now. Right now. Well, hello. My name is. Okay.
gotta be
There's a
you.
problem.
It gotta be you. You gotta
There's a
feel.
problem.
Yeah.
A preacher's always preaching.
Uh-huh. I
One of
got.
the great salesperson is a preacher. He's always preaching. You ask him to do a sermon, he could do a sermon.
You can do a sermon in his sleep.
He
Like
could do a sermon in his sleep.
as soon as he wakes up. That's awesome, man.
Absolutely. What is he selling you? Religion.
Yeah, he's selling ties to depending on the preacher, we can get into that
There's no
conversation.
such thing as a broke church.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So it's one of my top 4 best
Mhm.
salespeople is a
Right.
preacher. He always preaching,
Hmm.
always, because he believes in it, whether it's within him or not. There's some preachers, but they believe in it. They like it or love it, right?
Got a different conversation with that. And
Absolutely.
we'll go down into- I do want to make sure because I want to make sure we make mention of your book. It's called Mastering the Art of Closing the Sale. If I'm not mistaken, you have 10 steps towards closing the sale, but you said
Hold
earlier.
on a second. Let me go get one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just got back off the road, so I normally took the one on my desk away.
Mhm.
But here it is. Master the Art of Closing the Sale by Benjamin Brown. The game-changing 10 steps to get
Mhm.
referrals. And so referrals are the key to make your business a whole lot easier. Most people never get to the point of referrals.
Mhm.
So there's many ways I improve sales based on your CRM, your processes, your practice, your pitching. There's a number of different things. In most companies I work with, I can find the money that they would pay me right away. So I tell my clients, you don't pay for me, your new clients will, but I have to see it. And so once I'm able to see it, most people work with me because I generate normally 30, sometimes 50% what you're making right now just based on that.
Is there, if there's anyone listening there, is there an ideal criteria that you're looking for in a client? You know, what's the sort of the people that have been successful with you and things like that? I want to make sure we're properly vetting folks out as we.
Well, I have a criteria that I deal with. I've worked with $10 million companies. I've built sales teams from scratch. I've done every walk from everything. But most people say, what industry standard you're covering? I say sales, it's about the process. Some
Mhm.
people say, I don't know if you can help us because we do this. And I go, I don't care what you do. I don't care what you sell. It's about
Hmm.
the process.
It's about the process, right?
You replace the product or service within the process. I could take the same process and sell this cell phone today. On Monday, same process, sell refrigerators. Remember, keep it simple. It has to be repetitive. So if I get all convoluted with all this kind of other stuff, people can't follow that because you have
Right.
to do three things when you're selling. You have
Mhm.
to know where you're going,
Right.
you have to be confident, and you have to be willing to listen all at the same time. So
Mhm.
if you don't know where you're going, you're focused on what you're saying, you're not listening.
Right.
If you're not confident when they tell you, I got to think about it, you have no rebuttal.
Mhm.
And if you don't have any structure, you don't know where you're going, you're just babbling and you're going and on. And people are like, what does he know what he's talking about? Which you've probably heard before, right?
Yes.
So those three things have to be done simultaneously. That's the gift. That's what you have to understand. That's like the secret sauce.
Right.
It's very simple,
It's not
but
easy.
it's not easy.
I'm finishing your sentence. It's not, but it's not easy, but it's not easy. Man, this.
So you have to think in your head, where am I at? Where am I taking this guy? Like, and
Yeah.
you have to know where you're going. You have to, all these different things at the same time. So you're focused,
Uh-huh.
really focused. That means you're confident. So you can't be lackadaisical.
Right.
You can't be like too enthusiastic. You got
Right.
to be at an even keel. It's like an art.
Yeah. And you won't be if you really believe in your product. All right. And this is the
Yeah.
point.
If I walked in right now and gave you
Mhm.
the cure for cancer,
If you
you'll
believe
be
it.
all excited. And I say it works 100% of the time with this type of cancer. Go out and sell it. In a month, you'll be like, man, I'm getting kickback.
Mhm.
You
Right.
like, people don't believe me. I'm like, right? You still have to sell it, right?
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
the same thing. I tell people, what would you pay for a bottle of water?
Bottle of water. Man, depending on the brand, I pay 99 cents.
If I set you on fire, how much you pay for that
Yeah.
water?
$9,900 or something like that, right? That's
Right.
right.
What's the difference? It's just I'm getting you're more willing to move. Most
Mhm.
people don't know the difference in the variance in that, and they're just like selling it on 99 cents, and people are just not moving.
Right.
Right? People buy emotionally based upon what they want, not what they need.
Yeah. So tapping into the emotions. It's funny. Well, it's funny we're having this conversation now because currently I'm listening to the Audible version of The Challenger Sale by Brent Adamson and Matthew Dixon. And so much of it is actually about not necessarily building rapport too much as it's actually reframing the mind of a person and reframing how they think about the process. And you as a salesperson, you I can't overstate it. I don't know how many times it's probably been mentioned more than often on this episode. You really do have to be confident enough to challenge a person, make them uncomfortable because you believe that strongly in your solution. If you don't believe in your solution, then it's just gonna eventually it will wither away. Eventually, people will smell it on you. They'll feel it on you. You don't want to get those kinds of referrals. You don't want to get the referral of, okay, that guy's full of shit. He's just putting something out there, and you don't want to get that. Trust me. You want to get the referral that I believe in what I'm selling because I know where I'm going. I know where I've been, and I've seen this shit work. I've seen it work over and over. That's the vibe you got to give people over and over. That takes balls. That takes actually standing on some principles. That takes you actually doing some inner work in yourself and getting out of a comfort zone. It is so important that you hit them with that. So
Yep, get out of your own way.
get out of your own way. And I do want to be very respectful of your time. So I definitely appreciate you coming on. How can
Well,
people get in touch with you? What's the what's next? How would like put all that stuff out there now for the listeners? Because this is actually
I'm
this
doing
episode will be coming out closer to New Year's. So there's going to be a bunch of people trying to get new sales and, starting their new businesses. So the timing of this episode is going to be absolutely incredible.
Well, what I do is I make it easy. First of all, the book is on Amazon, Master the Art of Closing the Sale by Benjamin Brown. The site is 360salesconsulting.com, but I simplify it more than that because sales is simple. You want to reach out, you need help. You know that you can increase your sales. You know that if you work on it, you can make more money, which is the ultimate goal. So you can retire quicker, have your kids through college,
Amen.
get your
Amen.
private jet that you want,
Amen.
right? Absolutely, right? So I make it simple, meetwithbenjamin.com. I have the URL. It makes people easy for you. You don't have to remember anything. You don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
Meetwithbenjamin.com. You go to there. There's on there, and you can reach out and schedule a call. Make it very simple to do a very good assessment. Make people understand. Meetwithbenjamin.com. Made it simple.
That was actually
What have you learned in this podcast in the last couple of minutes? What have you taken away from this podcast that you have learned?
one of the things that actually intrigued me is when we reached out on our pod match was that was the website. You didn't send people to the three. I have to go look that up. The website that you have on the pod match, what's it called? The profile is just to go meet with you. And that was one of the things that actually intrigued me is that you're not sending people to a bunch of YouTube clips or anything. You're like, look, let's meet, let's have a conversation, or let's roll. Let's see if you're really about that action, if you're ready to play ball or not.
Yeah. It's very simple. Makes it easy for people to communicate. And so even my family know I'm a busy person. You want to talk with me, meet with Benjamin, you can schedule your call. I'm your family. You got to schedule a call. I'm like, you want to talk to me? Schedule the call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your time is not unlimited, folks. Your time is not unlimited. You can't be spending it bullshit with people that are going to waste it at all. It's very, very, very much valuable, and do not waste it. So, with all that, the way I close out the show, Benjamin, is I want you to use your imagination a little bit. Pretend the young Benjamin has come into the room. He's just getting his feet wet. He may have just gotten a bunch of no-shows, a bunch of rejection and all that, but he's staying hungry. He's figuring it out. Just talk to that young Benjamin a little bit and we'll officially close.
Your father taught you well.
Mm.
There will be a time that he will not be there, but he gave you the ability to be persistent. And persistence is key in understanding that your self-doubt is something that you created, no one else have.
Man, accountability. I love that so much, man. And this is more on the personal. I just actually had a conversation, a full-blown argument with another couple colleagues of mine about how we need to be more accountable. We need to be teaching the students about accountability. So thank you and Dad for giving me someone to say thank you. Accountability. God forbid that we need to be teaching our students. So with all that, if I start that, I'm gonna keep you on here for an hour. So I won't do that. So everyone out there, fellow teammates, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.